Well, good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez, your show host for today. We are super excited this morning. Oh, we lost our guest. I'm sure she'll jump back on in a second. Um, but this morning we have a show for you. So we are here. This is a show about inspiration, conversation, motivation. We love to highlight amazing women in our community. We bring co-hosts from our community to have discussions with us and bring on amazing women to inspire us in these conversations. So I am the founder of the Women's Institute of Self-Development and Efficacy and so many other things. So I'll pass it on to my co-host to introduce herself, who is our co-host for the month. Go for it, Maria.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Paloma. I am a second grade teacher, and yes, I survived a year of teaching virtual and hybrid and blended and all those new words that we learned this year. So I teach second grade dual language and in Niles. I'm also a mom and a wife. I have three adult children who are still at home. So that makes it exciting around here. I'm here with you this month of June. So looking forward to spending some time with our friends Moise.
Yay. Yay. And you survived second graders. Just that in
Second graders.
itself.
Imagine in itself. Yes, exactly.
More power to you. So Debbie, go for it, girlfriend. Let them know who you are and what you do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for having me here. It's so nice to see you. I'm Debbie Pickus. I'm the founder of a company named Team Fireball. We started as fitness team building and self-defense training and all these things, and I've morphed into helping women that are professional find their power, their confidence, their inner badass. But it's mostly through their mindset now. But it's all about the mind-body connection and power and confidence. And so I help them elevate their business, elevate their lives, and pretty much bring a little bit of martial arts, fitness, and self-defense background into my coaching. So we make it super fun.
Yeah, I know.
With
So
children who don't live with me. Woohoo! Once married this summer, actually. So my brain I've got wedding brain, but yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. Some good stuff is happening.
weddings. It sounds so nice when we hear like weddings are happening and
Oh,
parties are taking
Yes.
place. It just
absolutely.
it feels good to hear that. It really does.
And we've got some good friends who are getting married this summer, and he had a bad COVID situation last year, almost didn't make it. So the fact that he's well and they're going to get married this summer is like miraculous. So it's really things are starting to just become like open and beautiful and wonderful again. Thank goodness.
Thank God. And I want to just share Debbie. When I first met Debbie, she's like a rock star. Like when I think of like her theme song, like if I had a theme song for Debbie, it would be like the Pink, like so what? I'm still a rock star. I got like that is what I
We're
think
all
of
going to
when
get in a fight.
yeah, well, yeah, because she like I remember you approached me and you were like, "Hey, I want to teach this." Do you? And I was like, "Wow, she's powerful." Like I could feel how powerful you are. So, I don't know if ladies can feel it through the camera, but I'm just we could hear it in your voice for sure.
7:15 in the morning. I probably met you at night.
It was later in the day. It wasn't at 7. I guarantee that. Um, so we have Yamalet with us this morning. She said, "Good morning, ladies." So thanks Yamalet for joining us. I know she's gonna kick my butt. I always say her name wrong. I say it with a Y, not a J. Um, so I wanted to make sure that I go into coffee time. This is like one of the fun things that we do. We just talk about what we're drinking this morning, and for me, I get to know people's personalities a little bit more when we share like exactly what it is. Like some people love sugar in their coffee, some love hazelnut in their coffee. Like it's so interesting to hear all the varieties. So go for it, Maria. Share what you're drinking with us this morning.
I'm using my favorite cup that I got this Christmas from my son. And I'm just drinking plain old Dunkin' Donuts coffee that I make myself at home. And maybe some people are like, "Well, that's not plain coffee," but I don't know. I just feel like other people make it more like you said. They put hazelnut and stuff like that. Just like black, a little bit of sugar, and then I'm good to go. So
Yeah, you run on Dunkin'. You're
Yeah,
America's
I
that's
run.
America's favorite coffee.
I run on Duncan, that's for sure.
Nice. How about you, Deb?
All right. Well, I'm drinking out of this, which if I knew it was time to bring a cooler cup, I would have done that. But I will say that I bought this at Starbucks a bunch of years ago, and it was like during Valentine's Day with the red. So I think that's where I got it. But it's black, strong, hot, and black, and is it's I think it's Gavalia right now. I don't know. My fiance buys the coffee in the house, and I'm just like, make it strong. That's all I want, strong. So it's strong black
Nice.
coffee.
Nice. So me and you are very similar. And Maria, we all love black coffee
Yeah.
because I'm drinking black coffee as well. I do drink coffee from our sponsors, the Cafe Ama Love, which is a coffee that is from Puerto Rico that helps women and children learn about financial empowerment and entrepreneurship programs, which is pretty cool. And I think that if you guys want to try a new coffee, it is like crack. No, I'm just joking. It's not crack, but I like to just, it is a strong coffee dip. So if you ever want to check it out and it has like that social initiative behind it, it is some good coffee. And then we have a code. Of course, anyone that orders through us gets 20% off if you use the code WISE. But I need strong coffee. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do it without like strong black coffee. I don't care if it's cold or hot. But I just need it like to wake me up. you know and I've noticed lately I haven't been drinking it as much as I should be, or I used to go through 2-3 cups of coffee a day. Now I'm kind of at just one every other day, so I could feel the difference in my body, like,
Mhm.
the sense of like, I need this coffee to hype me up because I'm not hyped up. I'm more relaxed now.
Yeah.
um so if you guys are just joining us, remember to share what you're drinking with us this morning. This is an interactive show. Make sure to engage, ask questions. We're here to chat with you as well. So let's go into our first topic. Actually, I thought this was cute. So I wanted to share. Maria actually suggested to discuss National Best Friend Day.
Yeah, I came across this just kind of, looking up for like what are some topics to talk about. And I thought, well, what's happening, around the world that we don't pay attention to. All of a sudden I'll see on social media like that siblings day, like I always forget it. So this came up and I was like, oh wow, that is kind of cool. I think I would hope that we all have that best friend that we can pick up the phone, instead of texting, because now we all do that, right? We're guilty right here. But that one person that you're like, I need to talk to someone, you really can pick up the phone and just chit chat and say, hey, and it could be if you're a woman, and it could be a man or a woman, or if you're a man, maybe it's a man or a woman who's your best friend. Like, it doesn't matter, right? But just that one person that you can lean on, that's there to just listen to you, whether it's to, celebrate something, or maybe cry on their shoulder, or just listen. Like, sometimes we're so ready to, yes, call me and I'll fix it for you. But, friendship is not always, you know, what that's about. And I think just listening to somebody is just as important as giving advice. And sometimes it's not, advice is not even necessary. Sometimes we just need to
Vent.
desembocar, right? Vent, exactly, right? So I thought, yeah, I think I'm gonna call my friend up tomorrow and say thanks for being there because it's tomorrow, June 8th.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow is the
Yeah.
official National Best Friend Day.
Yeah, and I think you brought a good point up. I think too many people think that, just because someone's venting or talking to you, you have to give advice. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes you don't have anything to say and just
Right.
allow that person to express themselves, right? You have that, what is it called? I don't want to say hyper positivity. What's
Oh,
it called?
no. I
Toxic.
was thinking of something else. Yeah.
But toxic positivity sometimes can be damaging, right? And you might not even realize like you're doing that. So you gotta like, let me take a step back and just let this
Hmm.
person breathe, because obviously they're not in that state of mind. So this
Yeah.
is a good reminder, just checking on your friends.
Yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
Do you have a bestie, Deb?
I've got a couple besties. I mean, besides my fiance, who is definitely my best friend, we have a great relationship that way. But I've got two friends that I've known for many years since pretty much college and right after, and they're the ones that like you can tell. I think a best friend is when something happens in your life, like a big life event, whether good or bad, right? And you may not even have, I mean, I've got a couple friends that they live further away. We don't see each other. We don't talk as much. Life get crazy. But like a positive life event, like, I'm throwing a shower this weekend for my future daughter-in-law. They're coming, right?
Mm,
A few years ago, I had some financial, before I started this business, I went into some financial, bad trouble. They were there for me. I mean, I had to leave my home, and they came and they packed my house for me. Um,
mm,
I've been to their kids' weddings. They're coming to my kids' weddings. I've been to their family's funerals. They've been to my family's funerals. They're those friends that even if I don't talk to them all the time, they're there when it really, really counts. And to me, that's priceless.
oh yeah, those are like friends you don't want to lose, right? You don't
No.
talk to them every day, but when you do, they're there.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my people that I call and people that can call me, and we all have that. I feel like, or a lot of us, I know I have that, and these friends are that too. But these friends are like the deep down, like when I'm in trouble, they are there. They will make it happen.
I love
Yeah, that's
that.
good.
Yeah.
That's great.
So let me share. I know we have Angel. She's on with us. Good
Good
morning,
morning, Angel.
ladies. Good morning, Angel. Um, so I love that. And Maria, how about you? How many besties you have? Let's not count besties. I don't want. It's not a competition. This
Yeah.
is like just curious.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, I consider my siblings too. A couple of them, I come from a big family. There's nine of us in the family. I have five brothers and three sisters. I am the youngest. So I've had great experiences with all of them, and I am closer. I think it's inevitable. It's not favoritism or anything. You just kind of grow closer to some of them. So I would consider a couple of them best
Oh,
friends that I could definitely call and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, Deb, like you said, you have financial problems. I know that they're the people that I turn to, and then I have a couple friends outside of the family who, a couple of people I went to college with, a friend I met through work. So there are a couple of people in my life that I would definitely consider a bestie. But
um,
but I think it's when you're open to that type of relationship. And I think that a lot of the things that I'm reading about, and Brene Brown, and that you opening yourself up and being a little bit vulnerable, sometimes that opens up your relationship with people. It's you have to um really be authentic and open to letting them literally inside of you, and then they are open to letting you inside of them, and just that just cultivates such an intimate relationship, whether it's a blood relative or not. It's just that vulnerability and opening yourself up that it just creates such a unique experience. I think anybody who has somebody in their life like that can probably attest to that. And I think, like I said, someone that you can literally cry on their shoulder for whatever reason, for happiness or sadness,
yeah, yeah.
that just creates that, definitely. And I would consider my husband my best friend. We've been married for 30 years, Debbie. We just
Wow.
celebrated 30 years, so we
Happy
kind of grew
anniversary.
up together a little bit. Met in college and dated for a few years, and then got married, have three kids. So yeah, we've got, definitely, our I would say our relationship is definitely very intimate, where I can tell him what I'm thinking and he still sticks around. And he can tell me what he's thinking and I stick around. But again, we're
Oh,
open to, being honest and being authentic, and then being vulnerable to say, what you said the other day, that really sucked, or that hurt, or whatever. So
yeah,
being in looking at yourself too, like, oh man, maybe I did mess up. you know
yeah.
those relationships are just hard, and besties are no different.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely relate with a lot that you guys are saying, with husbands and friends that you have. And I mean, I have, besties that are even in this community. I would consider them
Right.
friends, right? So this is awesome. And I appreciate, everyone, you guys sharing and being vulnerable in this conversation, because we all need a bestie.
Yes, we do.
So let's go and let us know if you guys are watching. What are you drinking? And your besties, who are your besties? What do you love about your besties? Feel free to contribute to the conversation. Let's go into our second topic. And I think this one's going to be interesting. We wanted to talk about, protecting ourselves this summer, right? I thought this was a great discussion because I know Deb's background, right? I know that we just had our run yesterday, right? We ran yesterday. We have a running community. So, and we're women, right? So, like, what are some precautions? And I'm not even talking about COVID. I'm just talking about, like,
Yes.
I know that's a whole separate precaution type list that we need to, look at. But I'm just talking about like being outdoors, doing these exercise activities, like things that we can do to protect ourselves during the summer that will help one another.
Okay.
Whoever wants to take a stab at it first.
Okay, I'll go for it. So yeah, self-defense training was part of what we began in our business, and I think it's very powerful to just always be sorry about that. That you need to just be really aware of what's ever going on in your community. So like you said, you took a run. I don't watch the news often because it makes me crazy, but I did hear about several shootings and carjackings this weekend. And, there's a lot going on in the city. The first thing is when the weather gets hot, the crime rate goes up. For some reason, people just go insane. There's something about it. I don't know what it is, but and so temperatures flare as well, or tempers flare as well. If you are out on your own, watch those earbuds. Make sure that, if you're listening to something, you're listening to it quietly enough that you can hear what's going on. I'm actually made this mistake. I mean, I'm in the burbs. I don't worry about these things as much, but I was walking and I had a very loud, either music or some kind of program on that I was listening to. And a guy came up because he was running, and he kind of just ran past me and I didn't even hear him coming. And I was like, oh, whoa, I can't do that, because you just have to pay attention. So it's really being really aware of what's going on around you, who's around you, making sure that if your instincts kick in that like something doesn't feel right about this, trust that. I would not run alone on a path, somewhere where it's completely desolate. I don't know. It's just really awareness. We're really busy in our phone. We're really busy with our errands. We're really busy, with COVID and everything else. I mean, I know it's starting to loosen up, but we're trying to keep people away from us, but, especially people with masks. I mean, it's hard to know what's going on, right? So just reawaken your awareness when you're out and about and pay attention. Is all I can say. It's harder to know. And as far as the carjacking and stuff, never pull up so close to the car in front of you. That's number one. Leave yourself room to like pull away if something happens. If somebody rear ends you in a situation, do not get out of your car. Do not get out of your car. You basically call the police. And if you see somebody starting to get out of the car after they've rear-ended you, pull away. Pull away. Pay attention to what the car was, and you call the police. You say, I left the scene of somebody rear-ended me and they started to get out of the car with all these carjackings. I left the scene because that's the way to handle it. It's a natural thing to like get out and look at the damage.
Yeah.
That's what you have insurance for. If an insurance company isn't going to pay if there's an accident like that, get a new insurance company.
Wow, I never even thought of that. In all honesty, I would have probably jumped out and like what the hell? Like that's probably my first reaction.
I know. Yeah, it makes sense. But if you're somewhere and you just it's just a very common thing in the city right now.
Really?
And, I mean, that would be my advice. You can call your insurance company and ask them, but they're going to pay for, I mean, and it's not that every single time somebody rear-ends you, it's a carjacking, but that's what they do. That's what they do. So
that's good advice, because literally, like, my first reaction, I think many people that are watching would think, like, let me get out, right? Like, the precautions, like, I even, like, you have to be aware, and how many of us get on our phones. And that was one of the things I learned. Like, if you're walking in downtown, especially in downtown, if you're not on your phone, you're facing the phone. Like, you can't, because that's a perfect target. Like, oh, yeah, she's on her phone, she ain't paying attention, let me run and snatch her phone. I remember when I was pregnant with my first child and still going to college, I got robbed at the train station. And I was big belly pregnant. Someone just came from behind me and snatched my chain and kept running. So I was like, like, those experiences make you feel very crappy, and they really, like, it does break your self-esteem when you go through something. Like, at least me, I mean,
you're victimized. Victimized. Even if it's something little that you didn't get hurt, or even, an attempt, you feel victimized, and you feel very vulnerable, and you feel very, unsafe after that, because it's like, wow, I wasn't even really doing anything, or I thought I was paying attention, or I thought this, and, you kind of beat yourself up. And listen, if you're a victim of something like that, yes, could you maybe have paid better attention or trusted your gut? Yes, possibly, but don't like go into a state of like, I'm this terrible person that I wasn't paying attention. It happens. And people are getting bolder with the type of crimes. I mean, they're in River. I mean, I know we used to tell a story when we were teaching, is a guy that was on his phone waiting for an Uber, doing something outside of a very crowded bar or restaurant in River North. And people these guys just came up and beat the crap out of him, took his phone, left in front of all these people. So, I mean, sometimes, it's just being aware. I'm seeing some of these comments here, but yeah, you gotta, don't have your face in your phone. Don't have your earbuds on so loud that you absolutely can't, like, hear what's going on around you. Look up, look around, see what's happening, see if there's, even if there's, like, I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just went on.
No, go for it.
Let's say you're walking down the street and there's a doorway right there. You don't walk right next to the buildings, right? Walk somewhere where, like, if God forbid somebody tries to jump out of one of those doorways, they can't pull you in, right? Walk, not so close to the cars that if somebody, like, if there's like if you ever see a van or something in a parking lot like that, you don't want them opening the van and pulling you in. You just have to, like, be somewhere where you can go somewhere else. And visibility wise and being proactive is, like, if I'm walking down the street, I'm thinking of scenarios in my head that might happen. Like, where am I right now? What stores are open? Where can I run? Where could I hide if I needed to? You just have to know your own abilities. I mean, I just went on a tangent, but can I tell a quick story about something that was a true story?
Go for it.
So we had done a self-defense training for a networking group that I'm a part of. We did something for, like, their board. Mm-hmm. And she told us a story later. She told me a story that she had been working late. She's an attorney. She was working late. She had taken the L. She was had gotten off at her stop. I think she was, like, on Belden or something like that in the city. And she's walking, and all of a sudden she noticed this smoke shop open late, like 9:30 at night. And she goes, "Oh, this place is open. That's kind of cool. There's people in there. The lights are on." And I had said to people, like, if you're in a situation, like, know your neighborhood, know what's open, know what places are around, know what it's like happening during the day or at night, so that when you see something that looks out of place, you notice it, right? Because we're so, like, we're blinded to, like, what's happening around us a lot of times. That's a lot. I know. Remember all this stuff. Don't freak out. One thing will stand out to you, and that's all you have to remember. But this one thing stood out where I had said, pay attention to what's going on. She saw the smoke shop open late. she turned on her street and she sees this like scuffle happening down the street, like it's dark out, right? And she sees guns come out. These two guys, like, gang people, or I don't know what was going on, if that's what it was. But these two guys, like, guns came out, and she just like turned, went back to that smoke shop. She told them what was going on. They locked the door. They turned off the lights. They called the cops. But she, like, she's in a residential community and just happened to notice this place open. And she said, have you not told me to like pay attention to this? I would have been like, what do I do? So it's really just being proactive. You don't want to walk in fear. You don't want to be in a state of panic. It's just noticing what's going on around you, and get on that Nextdoor app so you know what's happening in your community so you can watch for things. Okay, I'm done.
Wow. No, that's good. What app is that? Nextdoor, you said? That's the one, the neighborhood ones, right? I think I've tried jumping on that before. Why do you like that app?
Well, just because that one, or any of the ones that just kind of tell you what's happening in the community, right? Because if they say, well, there's been some robberies and the person looks like this, or there's been, carjackings and it's usually this kind of car and this is what they're going after, so it's like, oh my gosh, I have that kind of car. Maybe I just better really pay attention. Or, there's been this common, like, scenario near these stores. So, then you just make sure that you're on a heightened level of awareness. That's all it is. Because we know the usual things that we think, but sometimes you have to be really specific.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So
let me audience, it's okay. You're gonna
let me share these comments. So we have Mary. She said, I'm looking into getting Aftershocks headphones for running. They go in front of the ear. I didn't.
So you can actually maybe hear while you're running. They're not like in your ear, they're in front.
That's pretty cool. And then Jamalet said, I was rear-ended and my husband told me, don't get out of the car. Yeah. The person just turned on the street behind me. It was scary. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you dodged that bullet for sure, because that was definitely, seems like either that or he was just running away. Mm-hmm. That's possible too. He was like, I'm going to flee the scene.
Yeah. And then Angel said, how are you supposed to get the other person's insurance? How will you know it's a carjacking? We would have to stereotype that person to believe they're going to carjack you. I guess maybe grab the plate. Can you grab the plate in a situation like that?
I would say call your insurance company and find out. Just, call your insurance and find out, because it's hard to do. I mean, if somebody feels like they're following, I don't know. I can't give you that answer. I mean, that's a hard one, right?
Yeah.
But because, and that's again why knowing on the Nextdoor app, like, well, what kind of cars are they driving when they come up to you? I mean, not every single thing is going to be, people are looking at their phones when they shouldn't, so they could rear end you. I mean, there's a lot of situations. I'm not saying that everyone's a carjacking, but I'd say call your insurance company. Call your insurance company and see if there's some kind of protection in case something like this happens and you don't want to get out of your car.
Yeah. I know I've always been told, like, if someone approaches your car, don't open the door. Talk to them. They could still hear you through the window. Like, keep your windows up. And it's happened to me before. People approach, like men approach, and they're trying to say something, and I'm like, no. Yeah. Like, just talk right now. Like, but I won't open my door. I don't care what you want. And they'll say open. I've had people say open your door. I'm like, nope. So yeah, that's scary. Nara said, that's horrible. People need to leave pregnant women alone. Sorry that happened to you. It's okay. It's okay. I'm over it. Thank you. She said, that's a lot. Then Nara said, what about we all just conceal and carry?
That's not in my area of expertise. You got to do what you got to do.
I couldn't describe the car behind me or get the plates because it was dark. Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. And, I mean, the thing is, even if it was just, even if it was just an accident, right? Maybe it wasn't meant to be a carjacking, I mean, I don't know where you were, but I don't want to get out of a car when it's dark and like start, you're trying to like look at damage and you're bending over and stuff. I mean, After teaching this for a while, I just trust no one. You know, it might be that's why call your own insurance company and say,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of carjackings. It makes me nervous. I'm a woman alone in the car, you know, or I've got a toddler in the back seat. Like, I don't want to get out of a car. Whatever you have to say, just find out how they'll cover it, because there's probably some blanket coverage if something like this happens. I mean, believe me, if you get hurt or if they take your car, they're going to have to cover, you know, they're going to have to cover your car anyway.
That's a good point. You know, call like me. I would be concerned. I have three daughters, right? Like, how do you, every time I jump out the car, I tell them lock the door. Like immediately, I say lock the door. My kid's a teenager now, so I'm like, just anytime lock the door. But yeah, when you have a lot of kids, me and Nara had this conversation. Like, yeah, conceal and carry. Like that's the way I'm going too. So
Whatever, you know, whatever you need to do to feel protected. Like, that's not my area of expertise. I can't
for
speak to
sure.
that, you know, and I'm not saying you have to listen to what I'm saying. I just want you to open your mind up to some ideas of things that you probably haven't thought of. So contact your insurance companies and find out what to happen, what, you know, what to do if that happens.
Yeah, and this is good because it brings awareness. Like these aren't conversations we think about. Like, oh, I'm gonna get carjacked. Like we don't think about this stuff, right? My car was hit on the back while parked. Didn't realize it until snow melted. Removed insurance. Still honored it. Oh, see, there you go. So even in that scenario, it was honored.
Yeah.
Um, so as much as I love talking about this, let's go to our
Just fun
next
conversation.
topic. So we wanted to add on a conversation about, how do we pass our fears when it comes to taking risks? And it went, Maria, I know you can talk about this because I know that was something you wanted to discuss, kind of like, you know, in addition to COVID, in addition to the summer and protecting ourselves, and in addition to just being an awesome badass, Maria, lead the conversation with that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, not going back completely to the previous conversation, but I read a book several years ago called Protecting the Gift. I don't remember who the author is, but it talked a lot about that, being mindful of your surroundings and things like that.
It's Gavin DeBecker.
Gavin DeBecker. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my first I guess introduction to that mindfulness, about being mindful of your surroundings and that. So, I totally get what you're saying about, you know, uh being aware. But I think it's just being mindful of your surroundings at all times for all kinds of reasons, not just for your own protection, but just to enjoy your surroundings, And I think, in terms of this taking risk, it's the same thing. When we get when we go into how can I say, like, we want to try something new, and then we start to question ourselves. We start to listen to that inner critic, like, que estás loca? What are you crazy? What are you doing this for? Are you nuts? You're a woman, you're a mom, you're over 50. What are you doing? Crazy? You're not an athlete. What are you doing running out there on the lake front? When you start listening to that, then yeah, you're going to hold yourself back. But then if you start listening to your inner mentor, which I'm learning about, that inner mentor that we also all have within us. I read, Playing Big by Tara Moore, who's also a life coach. I read that book earlier this year, and that was like a light bulb moment for me. And again, a lot of these things we know, but we just don't listen to it. We don't listen to that friend that says, "Come on, girl, you can do it. Just try it. Take that risk." And you still question yourself. You're still
Yeah.
questioning yourself for whatever reason, however much people have told you in your past and growing up, squashing your dreams, just telling you, don't be nutty. Just live that life, live that path that you're supposed to, as a woman, as a girl. Growing up, this is not what girls do. Um,
Mm.
in my second grade class, we were learning about community leaders, and really it was about opinion writing, but that the kids had to choose a community leader and what they wanted. They had to research it. So of course they all say, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a doctor. And so then, because it was at the end of the year, we only had a few days left and we were finishing up the project, and we were also counting the third grade. So V, the day V. We're using the alphabet ABC. And so we got to V, and it was video day, and I was like, oh my gosh, what video should I show? There's so much out there. So I'm on Disney Plus, and I see Mulan, and I was like, oh my gosh. So there's a lot of great girl movies out there. Um, and I was like, this is a great connection because if any of you know the story of Mulan, she impersonates a boy. She gets into the army, fights, of course, the badass hero, wins the war. But I started the movie, and then I said, I paused it. After 20 minutes, I said, okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. Why was that such a bad thing that they were all like, no, Mulan, you're gonna dishonor me? And I was like, can girls be in the army? Can girls be firefighters? And of course, all the girls are like, yes, yes, we can. I'm like, yes, that's right. Girls can do anything boys can do. And I said, and boys can do anything girls can do. So I tried to balance it out. Of course, I'm feminist work girl power and all, but gotta balance it out in the classroom. But again, it's like instilling that in the children as young as you can, to say, whatever you want to do, go for it. And I think we don't do that. And maybe culturally, in the Latino community, we do it even less. I think we're very much into, this is what boys do and this is what girls do, right? And hopefully now, in the 21st century that we're living in, things might be changing. Um, so many women out there who are badass heroes, AOC, and now we have a vice president. Like, man, this is our time. We really have to get out there and be warriors for real, like Mulan, and really fight for our own dreams, and and then support each other and uplift each other, just like we do in this community. To maybe if even if some of us fail at something, we have to have succeeded at other things. So even uplifting ourselves and then uplifting each other to get past those fears and those times when we question ourselves, that yeah, nothing is easy. Yeah, you have to work your ass off, but you can be successful. So
Mm, I love that. I love that. Deb, I know you wanna say something, I can see it.
Oh yeah.
I want
Well,
to jump in here.
I know. No. That was wonderful. I absolutely love it. This is the work I do now, right? I mean, for women, not girls. And I love that because it's great to start them at a certain age, where they really get it. But what I've done in my business has evolved into this power and confidence coaching, right? Because yes, we do have that inner critic, that mean girl. I say ditch the B word. I don't know how much swearing you allow on the show, because I'd be like flying it out. But I personally was in an abusive relationship years ago where I would hear that you're worthless and you're a failure and you're all these things. And the caveat was that it wasn't a partner or a spouse or a parent telling me, it was me. I would look in the mirror and say these things to myself. Talk about the inner critic, talk about the mental bully. I had this epiphany one day, because my beautiful daughter, who's 26, is starting a new job today, and she sent me a picture of herself, and she got this amazing new job, and she's just kicking butt. I mean, she's doing so well. But at the time, and she always was, right? But I what stopped me was like imagining her expression on her face if I spoke to her that way, and it was like, oh, because a lot of times we would never speak to our loved ones that way. A lot of times we would not allow someone to speak to us that way. And yet we accept that we speak to ourselves that way.
Yeah.
So, you've got to realize that when that voice comes in, if you wouldn't say it to somebody you love, it is not cool to say it to yourself. And just, stop it. That's just, stop it. And that, of course, that was my evolution into personal development and changing my world and my business and my life. But exactly what Maria was saying is that voice that we listen to. The thing is, it's subconscious, right? And when I do my workshops and when I work with my clients, I show people how to get off this cybernetic loop, because that's what it is. It's beliefs, thoughts, feelings, actions, results, and it leads you right back to that belief that you have. and we've got to learn how to change those beliefs, right? Because you can say stop saying it, but even if you stop saying it but deep down you still think it,
Mhm.
your behaviors are still, you're going to end up on that same treadmill, that same wheel where you keep ending up back at those beliefs. um
Mm.
yeah, well, yeah, and the thing is, I mean, I don't know if anyone in this audience has ever felt like, how did I end up back here again? Wait a minute. I said I wanted this thing, but here I am back here. Like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I do it? I see other people being successful. I see other people having great relationships. I see other people doing XYZ. And then, but they end up in the same place. So, and that fear, you might take a risk and it doesn't work out because deep down you believe it's never going to work out, but I'm going to do it anyway, right? And then you end up at the same place, and then it's like, I knew it wouldn't work out.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
there's a whole process that has to change, that's related to making new powerful decisions, and that's actually what I help people do. So I love this question, and I love what Maria said, and I love, I no, people were really feisty when it came to like the carjacking, man. But we're all like, whoa, nobody's saying anything now. They're all just like,
They're receiving right now. They're just
yes,
taking everything what you're saying.
receiving. They're receiving. I love it. I love it. They're all like, yeah, it's so scary, man.
This is good.
I love the
Um,
community. Awesome, awesome women.
and I'm gonna throw in here because as you guys are speaking, right now many of you might know I'm in a master's program right now, and I'm doing non-clinical counseling, so Christian
Mhm.
counseling and life coaching.
Yeah.
So I love the program because it always brings, science and worldview and biblical theory all together. So one thing that I was reading, I'm just going to throw this out there for my faith-based gals that like this, right? The two greatest commandments, right, is love yourself and love God. Love your neighbor. No, love God and then love your neighbor, right? Like if you guys heard of that, right? And then in the book that I was reading, it was saying, well, including to the neighbor, you have to include yourself as the neighbor. And people always forget, like, you don't include yourself in that neighbor part. And then, so how can you, if you don't love yourself and you talk bad about yourself and you don't love yourself, how are you going to be able to love your neighbor? Like someone else, like you're saying, like you were just saying that, right? Like you wouldn't speak like that to your daughter. You wouldn't say like, oh man, I'm such a failure. You wouldn't say that like to someone you love dearly, but
Mhm.
we're saying it to ourselves. So I wanted to make that connection because right when you said it, it just brought that book to my mind right now. So thank you
Mhm.
for sharing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm also reading, it's a really long book and it's hard to read, but The Seed of the Soul by Gary Sukov.
Mhm.
He wrote this book like 30 years ago, even
Yeah.
before we were talking about mindfulness and intention and all that stuff, and it's a deep, deep read. I mean, literally, I have to read a couple pages and then reread them because I'm like, wait, what did you just say? You
Yes.
know, um, but the chapter on intention really got to me. So he breaks his chapters up. One was about the heart, one was about vision, one is about relationships. The one on intention was really very interesting because, just the way Debbie just said right now about decisions, he talks about conscious and unconscious intentions.
Yeah.
And it's that, like, yes, I'm going to go and do it. And you're saying it and you're being conscious about it, but then unconsciously and almost unintentionally, you're sabotaging yourself with this type of
Mm,
thought, you know? And then it's like, which one is more powerful? Which one are you giving more power to?
Mhm.
Is it the conscious
mm,
thought or is it the conscious intention or the unconscious intention? Because we do have them all the time. And
Yeah.
of course, they're unconscious and we have to be mindful and realize they're there. And that's the toughest part, because it's like you just said, what, darn it, I just did all this work. Why is it not working? Well, because you're still down there doubting and fearful and, sabotaging yourself
mm.
somehow,
Wow.
whether it's like, you want to lose weight, but, oh, I'm just going to have one cookie or I'm just going to have this, and unconsciously like, oh, it's just one. But no, like my son is teaching me so much about that. He's like, Mom, that's 90 calories. Yeah, but it's only 90 calories. Yeah, but it's 90 calories. You don't need those 90 calories. It's like he's very mindful and intentional about all his eating. My son just lost 40 pounds
Wow.
in
Nice.
January, and he's like ripped and buff, and I'm so
Mhm.
proud of him. But it's that intention that he's just been so intentional and really, really mindful about everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just such a learning experience for me. And then reading this chapter was like, holy Toledo, that's what this is about. We do set an intention. We're like, yep, I'm going to do this. But then you're still carrying that other stuff with
Yeah.
you. You have to go back and realize it and be vulnerable and say, darn it, I gotta stop. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta stop saying that stuff. I gotta
Yeah.
really give this positive intention and this thing that I want to do, give it the power and
Yeah.
take that
The
power away
story of the
from
two
that.
wolves, right?
Yes,
You know
yes,
that
exactly.
story? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that chapter for me was really, really
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Deb, share the story in case of any of the
You
viewers
know,
don't know.
I'm gonna butcher it, but it's, I mean, because I know the concept of it, but I can't tell it well. But if you I feel like it's a Native American something if you look it up, but it's really like, one wolf is
Oh,
it's basically your two voices, right? It's one wolf is saying these terrible things and doing all these things, and the other wolf is the powerful, positive one, and it's like a grandfather talking to a child or something, and the child is like, "Well, which one is more powerful?" And it's like, whichever one you feed.
oh, right. Yes.
Mm,
If you if,
yeah.
if you search for it, you'll find it
Uh-huh.
much better. You have said better. And the truth is, you have to also know that that voice is there. Like a lot of us can see the surface voices, right?
Hmm.
Surface thoughts. We can't see what's way underneath. You know,
Mm,
it's 5 to 6 levels down what's really going on, so sometimes it takes an expert, and I'm not saying work with me, work with anybody, find whoever makes sense for you, but it really does help if you're feeling stuck and struggling and just like can't get past a certain place, and you've got this intention or this desire or this goal to do it. It
Yeah.
really is beneficial to invest in yourself to find out what's happening, because
Mhm.
when you flip that switch, everything opens up.
yeah. That's good. Thank you for sharing. And I think for everyone that I saw a comment I wanted to share, Jamalet said, um, I'm in that boat of fear of taking a risk of going back to school. So if you guys have any like tips that you want to share, or just a little encouragement,
I've got something, if you don't mind me jumping in.
do your
Mhm.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah, no problem.
And is it Jamulet or Yam
It's Jamalet.
Jamulet?
Jamlet,
Okay.
Jamlet.
Um, okay, this, I mean, she's gonna have to type back to me, but like, what's the fear? What's the worst thing that can happen if you go back? What are you afraid of?
That's a good
Yeah.
question to
Look,
ask.
I can totally relate to that. I went back to school at 40.
Yeah,
No, I was older than 40. I think I was 42.
yeah,
um, to get my master's degree. And
nice.
it took me a year, literally a year, to decide for the same reason. I've been away from school for so long. School is intimidating as it is. Like
Right.
as a kid, I mean, I had great grades and everything, but because I busted my butt. Now that I know more about what's happens with kids, I think I might have had a disability where I had to read things and reread and take notes and underline and highlight all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And
But
back then they didn't understand all this. You
no,
were
they
just
didn't.
like
No,
smart or not smart,
we
Yeah.
still don't. We still don't
Yeah.
understand.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But I going back to school, I was like, shaking in my boots, like, man, can I do this? And it was my family support, my parents, my husband. They were the ones encouraging me. My friends, I had two girlfriends who were already in a master's program, and they were like, "Girl, you're bilingual. Come on, right there, right off the bat, you got this." And it was a lot of encouragement from a lot of people that
Yeah.
finally made me take that step. And was I nervous? Yes, I was nervous, and taking the classes and having to read and write reports and speak in front of class, and it was a lot of work, but definitely it was that support system that I had. my children were a huge support also, and then it was a great example for them. Like, you know what, school doesn't stop when you graduate high school or college. Like,
Yeah.
you can continue paving that path for yourself and evolving and changing and becoming better person or better
Yeah.
at whatever you want. So
Yeah, I
that's a
agree.
great example for my kids too.
Yeah, I agree. But and also, and I'm just guessing, you had a really powerful reason for wanting to do it. I mean, what I have found is that going back to do something because it would be cool or it'd be a good idea or this or that is not enough to
Right.
get you to step
Hmm.
into something. And I'm seeing what she said here about working full time, having two small kids, and of course, getting back on a loan. And all you can do is, if the fear is, I'm not going to be able to do it, well, it's not like it has to be, I mean, I don't know what the program is or anything about it, but, you know, is it okay if it takes you 5 years?
Right.
If it takes you extra time because you've got all these other things, can you only
Hmm.
devote yourself to one course at a time and just really fully do that? Or is it something like, no, I want to get this done now, or if I don't go now, I'll never go?
Right.
How important is it? Why is it important? Like, what is
Yeah.
going to be the benefit to you and your family and everything else? And you just have to decipher what the fear is. Because I hear these things, right? This is,
Hmm.
well, but what does that mean? Does that mean I'll fail and then I'll have this loan and it won't work out and my husband will be mad at me and we'll get a divorce and my kids will hate me? I mean, is it all that? Or is it just like, I'm not smart enough to do all this? Why am I bothering? So I mean, I'd love to hear further from you what it is. And well, we could spend hours on this, but it's really deciding like, I get all the surface level reasons of why it will be hard, but that's not the reason.
Mm,
Yeah, and it's
mm,
also long term. Like, how is this going to help you and your family long term?
yeah,
Is it going to
absolutely.
be, improve your
Right.
professional life and your paycheck? I mean, let's get real.
Yeah.
Having
Mm,
more education and a degree sometimes bumps you up on the pay scale.
Right.
yeah.
Opens up
It's
doors to a
exactly,
different a different profession or a different job. Look at
Nara's got this answer in here about,
yeah,
what's the value? And that's what you've got to figure out. What's the
yeah.
long-term value? What's the,
Hmm. Yes,
Yeah, the
for sure.
return on the investment for
Absolutely.
sure. Um,
And there's an education, there's always a return on investment. I mean, I'm an educator, but I'm also, college educated, master's degree and everything. And I fully believe that education does help you. And, I know school's not for everybody as well. There's lots of professionals out there who are doing very well, who have never gone to college. And if that's you, more power to you.
for sure.
But to many people in the world we live in today, definitely a college degree or a master's degree will always help you as well.
Yeah, I think I love the point of like the belief system, the support that you have, right? Who's supporting you in this, and the why, what's really the
Mhm.
driving force behind it. Because for me, I'm not even gonna lie, I was like, what the hell am I in this master's program again? Like, I literally, like, I ask myself every day this question. Like, I will go through this, like, I have to talk to myself and say, Jennifer, why are you doing this? You're nuts, you know? But then I sit back and then I think about, well, what's the reason behind it? Is my why strong enough? And it is. I have a community
Mhm.
of women that I serve, and for me it's not, it's obviously I'm an entrepreneur, so for me I see it a little bit different of the value it's going to be providing me. It's
Mhm.
more for me, it's like the value is going to provide the community, right, that I serve. So I think these are some great points that you guys are sharing with the ladies, so thank you for sharing. I love it.
You're expanding yourself, Jennifer.
Yeah.
You're expanding yourself in your business and to the people who you'll serve. And, so you're very clear about it. So, and, it's really just being clear. Like you said, you've got to
Yeah.
know why you're doing it, because when it gets hard, they say that about being a doctor. My son, who's a pilot, basically at one point was like, I'd love to be a doctor. And I said, why? It's like, well, I just think it'd be really cool or whatever. This is years ago. I'm like, that's not good enough reason, because you will wash out immediately. That's what you want.
That's a good point. I love that. I love that. Yeah, because there's days that I'm pulling my hair out and I'm like, This is who's decided to make graduate school this difficult and make you read 100 pages a
Who's
week.
in
This is
charge?
nuts. Who's in charge of this? Like, I need to speak with them right now. But thank you, ladies, for this conversation. Let's go to our final topic because we want to definitely talk about this. What does it mean to move it or lose it?
Oh,
I hear this all the time. So Maria, go
yeah.
for it.
That's my mantra. It's like move it or lose it, man. I'm 55. I know all of you think I'm only 39. I'm just kidding.
We do. We do. I don't.
And man, getting old really stinks. You start to feel it, and I laugh when I hear 30-year olds say, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so old." I'm like, "Oh, stop, girl. I'm almost twice your age." Um, and I really do feel much better when I'm moving. I'm also a yoga instructor, Debbie. And I became a yoga instructor only 3 years ago,
Love it.
and that has changed my life.
I
And
bet.
the days that I don't do it, man, I feel it. So I happened upon a program actually on WTTW, and it was all about the connective tissue in our body.
Mm,
And I had heard of this, like, bodybuilders, of course, you lift weights, you get strong, you build muscle, you get real bulky, whatever, you look wonderful. However, you also need to stretch and keep your muscles supple, because yeah, they can be strong and everything, but if they are too tight, that's when you're going to experience pain and eventually arthritic problems. And
Mm,
arthritis is really that fundamentally is that your connective tissue has sort of hardened. It's not as supple and as moist, I guess you can say.
yeah.
So when you move all of this liquid inside your body, because we're half liquid basically, um, that is like lubrication for all this connective tissue that we have. And connective tissue is all like ligaments, cartilage, um, fascia, all of that stuff that actually holds our body together, holds the muscle to your bone, and then bone to bone or muscle to muscle, whatever. I don't know exactly how it's connected, but it basically keeps our body together. So I learned all this on a 1 hour program, WTTW. And of
love
course,
love Channel 11.
yeah, this lady selling her product, which is like kind of like a yoga type of, it's like a combination of yoga, tai chi, very slow movement, but it's basically for older people who feel like, oh my, I'm old and I can't do these things. Well, that's not true, because as long as you're moving, you are maintaining this lubrication and this pliability of your connective tissue, and then you will just feel healthier because you will be more mobile. And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, see, I knew that move it or lose it mantra made sense. so, so come on, ladies. Even if you're not running, any kind of movement is good for you. Get out and walk. Maybe you want to ride a bike. Maybe you just want to walk around your block, or 2 blocks so you don't get dizzy, doing
Yeah.
1 block. Like we were talking about that yesterday. But really just get up and move and do something, even if it's just dancing. Put on some music and make some bachata, some salsa, some hip hop, whatever, and just get moving. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we're all pretty like into something. I know, I mean,
mhm.
Deb, you did martial arts. How many years did you do martial arts, or do you still practice martial arts?
I'm not, no, I'm not still doing it. Like 10 years. Yeah.
10 years. Yeah. I remember at one point you said you like 4% body fat. I was like,
No,
oh my.
I
Did
don't
you just say
have
something like that?
4%. No.
You said something. I was like, whoa, she was fit.
19. I was 19 at one point. That is not the case now.
That's good though.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and this conversation, I know it came about because we did the run yesterday and we had some women come out and meet up at the beach. And it was just like, this is part of our holistic approach when it comes to our community. We like to talk about health and wellness, and we like to encourage women to move because we know that the move it or lose it concept that you're saying, Maria, I mean, even in the development of human mind, when we get to the older
Yeah.
stages of our life, our brain, the speed of the rate that our brain decays will lessen by the mobility that we do. So if we keep ourselves moving, and I just learned this in one of my classes, our brain, right, it'll slow down the decay. No, I don't want to say decay, that's the wrong word, but the decline of the brain functioning.
Yeah.
So the more you move, the better. Like, I think this is great advice. We gotta keep pounding this in women. Like, stop being on your butt.
Yes.
Get your butt up and move. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved what Maria said too about just do something, right? Because we, again, going back to what we've heard that exercise is, it's got to be an hour. You got to go to a gym. You got to do this. It has to look like this. It's aerobic exercise, or it's big. And it does not have to be that. And it also doesn't have to be just one time a day. You can get up in the morning and do, 5 to 8 sun salutations, right? Just to get the blood flowing, and it doesn't matter how it looks. I mean, I do yoga. I don't look good doing yoga. It's really not, but I just do it. I just move to get my body awake and feel good. I'll take a walk. We have a puppy. He's, actually today's our gotcha day. We just got him a year ago today, but I know, right? He's giant. Kid doesn't fit on the screen, but we take him for a walk a couple times a day. And sometimes it's around the block, and sometimes it's, a half a mile. It doesn't matter, but move, putting on music and just dancing. Like, that's just good for your root chakra. Right? I mean, that's just good for your body. You can put your this is okay to put your AirPods on, right? And yes, it is, Mary.
Yep.
But just get up and like put on your favorite song, and 2-3 minutes, just dance, like whatever moves you that way. The other interesting thing about Move It or Lose It is it's not just lose it, it's go backwards. You do lose it. You actually lose ground. So if I'm in a certain level of fitness right today, and for like, a month, I don't do anything, I haven't stayed where I was. I've actually gone backwards. So right. And just the same thing, what you said about the decline of the mind, it will be the same thing. So absolutely just find something that you love that gets you moving. If you're at a point of life where you've got little kids, or maybe you've got grandchildren, something like that, and you want to be able to like spend your time with those, your grandchildren, or gardening if you like gardening, or whatever it is. I know you guys have some runners here. I'm really not a runner, man. I can run a couple miles, and that's about it for me. I could do it on a treadmill, but I hate treadmills. I want to be outside. I want to smell the flowers. I want to look around. But you know what? Other stuff I do. I actually just ordered a Peloton. I never thought I would do it in a million years, but I did. But even that app is a simple app that you could get and just, do at home. Or there's YouTube things. There's a million things you could do and put on. And so, just I fully encourage it.
Deb, I wanted to add something. Maria brought a good point, and I don't know when you told me this, but it stuck with me for a while, Maria. You said that you went to the running store, and the person that was helping you find shoes said, if you buy running shoes and you go out for a walk, you're still considered a runner. So I wanted to throw that out there because I think we have this like misconception about running. Like, we have to be like super fit, super slim, and like the speed of a bullet. Like, I'm not fast. My speed is like walking speed.
And it's okay. I mean, again, I encourage everybody, like, don't assume it has to look like something. That's another one of those limiting beliefs about it. And I'm not a runner. I mean, I'm not a runner, but I mean, I get out and walk every single day. I do something, and that's not always fast. But just, do some strength training. Very important. And for us ladies, we're not going to get like bulky, intense muscles, but that's also another way to, as long, and you can get a lot of strength from doing yoga. But I mean, lift, do something, do 5 push-ups. It's okay if they're on your knees. Do some sit-ups, do some squats, just do some basic things. You don't have heavy weights, but you need to maintain that muscle to, like you said, the connective tissue, but those muscles are what keep keep you strong and powerful.
Yeah. Let me show some of the comments. We have Nara said employers will pay sometimes for furthering education, degree or certifications. Absolutely, especially hospitals. So I definitely agree with that. Jamalet said I was thinking of investing in an under the desk treadmill to walk while at work. That is
Love
pretty
it.
cool. Yeah, I like that. Mary said it is also good for moving the bowels. I agree because after that walk, woo, I am in that bathroom.
Thanks for sharing.
Too much information. Now you know. PSA. Yep, outside is amazing. So it is nice to get out and moving and sightseeing and riding a bike and use your children. Like I'll grab that little girl and throw her up and down and squat with her and she thinks, we're piggyback riding, but no, I'm like trying to work out with you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, these are all great conversations. So I know it's 8:32. I want to make sure that we close out and promote, of course, our special guest and Maria. So let's go with Deb. Deb, where can people find you if they want to connect with you? Where do you want them to find you, or where can they find you, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. So thank you. So LinkedIn, I'm Debbie Pickus, and you can private message me there. Facebook, Debbie Rapport Pickus. So that's my maiden name. You could just, message me there. And then my website is www.team-fireball.com. There's a contact us button there. And I want to say that I'm actually speaking. It's an event. It's called the Coterie for Women, and I can actually, Jennifer, I can just send you the link for that at some point, but because I don't have it handy. But I'm speaking on June 17th, I think from 12 to 1, and it's one of my workshops around that whole thing we talked about, where the that human operating system, that wheel. I'll be teaching a class on that, and that is open. You don't have to be a member of the group to do it. So I can after this share that with you, and you can share it with your community. I'd love to have you come join.
Nice. Thank you so much, Debbie, for bringing all these awesome points and teaching us something new today. I really appreciate it. And Maria, any final thoughts and what do you want to share with the viewers?
Yeah, if I could just plug the foundation, Jennifer, if you give me a chance. I'm actually also president of the Fig Factor Foundation. We are looking to help young Latinas. I know Jennifer is focused on older women, and we are really trying to mentor younger girls, anywhere from 12 to 25 years old. And we do have a core mentor program every year. The one in August is going to be in Spanish. We already have a group of girls from Mexico signed up, so we're excited about that. And the next core program will be later, probably later this year or in the beginning of the 2020. Oh my goodness, 2022. But we are also always looking for mentors. If you are looking to mentor a young girl, a young Latina, and we are also holding workshops that are available free to anybody who would like to join. You can find us on Eventbrite. And I could probably send the link to you right now. I don't remember the title of the one in June, but we're hoping to have a workshop every month. So the one that's coming up is June 16th. And again, it's a female women led community, and we are a bilingual community. So we do hold to help women in both English and Spanish. And some of our programming is just Spanish, some is in English, and some is in both languages. But we also do that. So that's coming up, and I'm really excited about that. So I love this community of that I learned from my older women and colleagues, and more professional, and then I take all of that and help younger women to navigate life. So
Yeah, and we love you too. And I love go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you say?
The older women comment. I'm like, I'm older than you.
You guys are not, you're not old at all.
Mature, Debbie. We're mature women.
Yeah, you
Sure. Hey, my birthday's July 1st. I turned 63. So
Oh, wow,
you look amazing.
Yeah.
going.
these are not gray hairs. They're just stripes of wisdom. That's
These
I
are total
love
gray
it.
hairs. They're totally. I'm owning it. That's
yeah.
why I'm a little more, we talked about my hair in the beginning. I'm a little blonder so that the gray blends in beautifully.
There you
I
go.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love you guys are so much fun. So I think, this is all great conversation. I love this community because we're like readers, and I love this show because we were all throwing authors out there and you guys were
Yes,
throwing
yes,
books.
yes.
I'm like, oh, these are my gals right here. So I wanted to make sure that before I close out, I share that I am looking for volunteers. So if anyone watches this or watches the replay, the volunteers that I'm looking for is to host small running groups through anywhere. I mean, I'm just trying to grow our running community. We're big on community in this group. We want to meet people, get to know people. So if you are someone that already goes out there and walks or runs and you do this habitually on a regular basis, or you want to do this and you want to commit to something where you lead a group of ladies, whatever. I mean, I'm very flexible. I am looking for volunteers to like lead running groups and walking groups throughout the area. So we definitely want to encourage more people to get out and move during the summer. And we might have a barbecue at the beach. We were thinking, me and Maria are like, either we're going to have a family barbecue day, a women's barbecue, just hanging out because it was so much fun yesterday. We need to network more and enjoy the sun together. Absolutely. While the weather, while the
Yes.
weather's nice.
Yep.
Um, because then soon we're gonna be like, oh, bye summer, and here
Yes.
comes fall, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
True.
and then of course I want to make sure that I share. We do have our retreat coming up
Mm.
September 10th to 12th. We're super excited about this. The theme is, and I'm announcing it here because I haven't really promoted it yet, but we are doing more of a reflection and celebration type retreat this year, where the goal is to celebrate who we are, celebrate our womanhood, celebrate our accomplishments. I don't think we celebrate ourselves enough. So this is going to be, you'll see more stuff soon. I'll start posting more content about that. So just wanted to share that with everyone that's watching now or the replay. I'm pretty excited. We have some final comments. Yep, outside is amazing. Yes. We are wise women. We sure are. And oh, that would be so awesome. So I am super excited, ladies. Thank you so much again, Maria, for taking on this month, and Deb for joining us today and sharing your expertise. I really appreciate you guys. And
So,
well, that's it for our show
yes.
today.
Thanks for the invitation. Very nice meeting you, Debbie.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your
Thank-
week.
Yes.
Yes.
Great week.
Have a powerful week, ladies. God bless you. Talk to you guys soon.